Hello, I want to make a slightly more casual, chatty video today talking about an article that was published recently in the New Statesman by Sarah Manavis called Why Goodreads Is Bad for Books. And I know lots of people, lots of readers have very strong feelings about Goodreads, whether they use it or not. So I thought it'd be interesting to have a conversation about this. It can be kind of interesting conversation starter. I just summarize the article, give my reaction to it, talk about my own personal history of using Goodreads, and I'd really like to know from you whether you use Goodreads, how you use it, how much you use it, and all that stuff, because it's just quite interesting how we form these online bookish communities and where we go, and how none of these platforms that I think a lot of us use are really ideal conditions for discussing books in the way we'd like to. So the article is basically about the history of Goodreads. How it sort of she summarizes how it started. Very idealistically of a couple who started up that just wanted to have broader conversations about books with people online, and how that just grew and grew, and how it was eventually acquired by Amazon, and how things really changed at that point, and how it's really an imperfect platform in the usability of it, that it's quite clunky and old-fashioned, how it's structured and all of that, and how when you search for books, quite often it's hard to find the books that you're actually searching for. It'll just throw up other like random books based on the words that you've put in, and for recommendations, it's never very accurate with recommendations. And I've certainly found that when it throws up recommendations, it usually doesn't have much to do with my personal tastes at all. And and just how it's not as functional as it could be, as the way that readers want to use it, and that basically that because it has such a dominant place on the web, that basically Amazon hasn't put in any effort into try to sort of modernize it, or change it, or make it more user friendly, because it's the main platform online where readers go to discuss books and give their star ratings and all of that. And so she sort of proposes like maybe there could be alternative platforms, even though a number of platforms have tried to start up and be a rival for Goodreads, to be the destination point online for readers to discuss books, but how a lot of these crumble and fall, and how there's another new online platform called the Story Graph, which has just started, which is really trying to listen to what readers want, and how they want to discuss books, and rather than just this sort of old-fashioned ways. And I would sort of counter to that. I mean, my initial reaction would be like, in a way, like I think, and what she cites is that the way a lot of people use Goodreads online is just to literally only catalog what they've read, just to mark as to read, to give a star rating for that, and then to mark what they want to read, and create a TBR pile on their Goodreads. And I think for a lot of users, that's probably the only ways that they use it. I mean, maybe they'll connect with some other bookish friends and see what other people are reading online, but that'll pretty much be it. And obviously, there's lots of other features. There's groups and all sorts of other things, and you can make lists and create challenges for yourself, and reading challenges, and so. Me personally, I mean, I think I came to the platform quite late. I started using it in 2014, which is still 6 years ago. It's quite a while ago, but relative for when I've been online talking about books. I mean, I think I first went online to talk about books back in 1999, when I found some online forums, and I used to go on Amazon and write reviews on Amazon, like very geekily, and I connected with a number of users through Amazon in that way. Just other people who'd read the same books I had, and we started exchanging messages, and I started having regular communication with people online, like way back then. And then over the years, I just sort of fell off from using. I don't really know why. I just sort of stopped having conversations with people online as much, and just fell out of use. And as Amazon became more sinister in their sort of dominance of the marketplace, and like closing down bookstores and or causing bookstores to be closed down because they had such a large share of the marketplace. I just stopped using Amazon so much, didn't want to put my reviews on there, and so for several years I think I stopped talking about books with people online. And then eventually I started following some book bloggers online and was really interested in their opinions and thoughts about books. And so finally came up with the idea, like, why don't I start my own book blog? So almost exactly 7 years ago, I started my own book blog, and from that I started having more interactions with people online and joining more social media platforms. So I joined Twitter because I started this blog, and Instagram, and joined Goodreads eventually, because I just thought I should have sort of a presence on these different platforms, and it's a different way to meet other readers. And but because I use my book blog to do that thing of literally just like cataloging what I've read, give my thoughts about what I've read, and also talk about what I want to read next, as I do in a lot of my videos here. So I feel like that reason for using Goodreads isn't really so much needed for me, because I have these sort of other platforms I'm doing it on. And so I've joined Goodreads, and I post sort of snippets of my reviews on there that I then link through to my blog. And that's not so much because I want to get more traffic for my blog or something, because honestly I never look at the analytics for my blog. I have no idea how many users go to my blog or how much traffic there is, and I don't really care, because I'm not like building a business like by starting this blog. I just started it because I want to have a place to catalog all of my thoughts about books, but I don't really want to give that all to Goodreads, because I feel like in a way, by contributing to the Goodreads platform, we're really contributing to Amazon and helping build their online dominance of the book marketplace, and I think that is slightly dodgy, and so, but I still want to have a slight foot on the door. I don't know if that's slightly copying out of me or not, but yeah, and that's really mainly the only reason I sort of go on Goodreads. I don't really interact too much on that platform with other people. I mean, sometimes I'll dip into some groups and have some discussions if there's a particular book or a particular reading challenge that I want to talk about. But yeah, personally, I never really find book recommendations through Goodreads. That's not the reason I go to that platform. There's plenty of other places, like people I follow on other social media channels, or suggestions here in BookTube videos, or suggestions that people leave in the comments here on BookTube, or emails that people send me, suggesting books, and so yeah, that's the main reason I use Goodreads. And so in a way, in this article, she's complaining about how it's not. It's very clunky and old-fashioned, but in a way, I almost think that's good. in that, does it really need to be any better? Do we want all that much more from Goodreads in how we interact with and talk about books? And because I personally find it very frustrating in a lot of different media outlets and online platforms, when there's a big restructure and an update, and then all of things get changed and you have to readjust to, I mean, I hope I'm not sounding too old by saying this, but things get restructured and changed, and then you have to learn how to use it again, and where everything is, and personally I find that quite frustrating, because if that's happening every 6 months, maybe it does improve functionality in the long term, but if that's happening regularly, if there's regular restructures and updates like that, it can be very frustrating to have to get used to it. So I find it slightly comforting in a way that Goodreads is sort of the same as it has been for so long, but then I'm not a user that uses it all that much. So if that's someone's main platform for going online to discuss books and talk about them, I could see how that can be very frustrating. So I'd be really interested to know from other people if you find it a really frustrating experience going on Goodreads and using it, because yeah, it's just sort of interesting, like if they could be improved upon. And so I thought I would go on to this site, the Story Graph, and sign up just to see how it is. And so I created a username and a profile, and it's interesting how it gives you all these questions when you sign up, asking about your reading tastes and what you just like in general. And you can also import your Goodreads list of what you've actually read so that it can generate more recommendations for you. And so it was interesting. I went on and it came up with some top picks for me, and I think it is kind of fairly accurate. I mean, at the top it suggests Sammy by Audre Lorde, which is a book I've always wanted to read but never got around to. It suggests this novel Last Night in Nuuk, which is I read it it was published under a different title in the UK. It's that novel from Greenland that got a lot of attention a couple of years ago. And so, yeah, there are some books that I just haven't logged on my Goodreads that I've read that it's throwing up these suggestions. So it's suggesting Alan Hollinghurst and David Levithan and James Baldwin and Chinelo Akparanta, whose novel Under the Udala Trees I absolutely loved. And so, yeah, there are a number of suggestions of things I have read, but that just haven't been logged in this particular place of me reading them, or books that I've been interested in, and a number of books that I've not heard of or come across before that I do think sound kind of interesting. But like I said, I don't go on these platforms to get book suggestions because I feel like I get that from so many other places. I don't really need an online platform for giving me so many book suggestions. So I'm not sure I would use this platform so much. I mean, it's just in the early stages of it. I think they're going to officially launch it in, they're still testing it out and officially going to launch it at the beginning of next year. Also, it's interesting how the story graph deprioritizes star ratings. Star ratings appear at the bottom of the reviews or the profiles of books, whereas, Goodreads, it's such a prominent part, star ratings. And I know people agonize over star ratings. And personally, I've never found them that helpful or interesting because, like the article says, everyone's experience of star ratings and how they use star ratings is so subjective. And so, and personally, I have a very controversial way of using star ratings, in just that I feel that if I really enjoyed a reading experience, I'll give it 5 stars. And other people I know are very much more stingier with their star ratings, their 5-star ratings, that they'll only give that to a very select few books, probably in their entire lifetime. Whereas, I just feel like, well, I really enjoyed it, so yeah, 5 stars, why not? And it's, much less common that I'll give something like 2 stars, or, I have to really not enjoy something for that. And that's changed a bit recently, where I've been, modifying my star ratings a bit more, and on Instagram, when I give my wrap-ups of what I've read in a month, I do give star ratings now. So, but I just feel like there's so much more nuance to an experience of a book than just 1 through 5. I don't, that's why I much more enjoy on my book vlog giving longer thoughts about books. Mainly just I find it so frustrating when a new online platform for books comes on, then you join it and you can be very enthusiastic about it at first, but then quite often these platforms will die out after a few months, and then it feels like it's been kind of useless. And how many online platforms do we need for discussing books? So yeah, I don't know if it's really needed so much. I'd be interested if other people use this platform, if you enjoy it more than Goodreads. It's just, yeah, kind of interesting, I think, to see how these platforms work for better or for worse for other people. But it is a big concern of mine that I feel like Amazon is completely dominating the marketplace, and I sort of, for books, because I know that publishers and authors don't get a very big cut from books that are sold through Amazon. So would it be better if there's more competition online? And generally, I don't buy all that many books from Amazon. If I want new books, I'll generally go to a bookstore in London, and I'm just sort of lucky that there's lots of good bookstores here in London that I can go to buy a book from. books from. And if I'm looking for a backlisted book or used book that might not be in a bookshop currently, I used to go to the online website Bookfinder, and well, I quite often went on that website because that website Bookfinder is connected with all these independent used bookstores, which there aren't so many used bookstores in London as there used to be, and it sort of connects with all those used bookstores, and then you can buy from those used bookstores that may be in the far reaches of America or some small place in the UK, and then have books sent to you. And I thought, like, oh, that's a better alternative to Amazon. But then I just did a sort of online search. I was like, I wonder who owns Bookfinder, and found that yes, it was acquired several years ago by AB Books, which is owned by Amazon. So it feels like Amazon, just sort of like has a sort of dominant control of the online marketplace. And I don't know if there's a better solution for that. I know there's a number of websites which connect with real bookstores that you can make purchases through, and maybe that might be better. But just as me as a reader, I just want to get the books, and so I can find it quite frustrating of where to actually purchase books from. Where is the best place? So I'd really like to know from you if you have some suggestions of where you like to purchase books from, where hopefully more of the proceeds of that sale will go back to the publisher and the authors more so much than just this big giant online platform. So yeah, those are my general thoughts about it. But yeah, I'd really like to know from you about how you use Goodreads, if you use it so much, if you used to use it and you've stopped using it, and sort of all that stuff, and we can just have a general chat in the comments below. But hope you're doing well, and I'll chat to you again soon. Bye.